The first hot take in this video comes from my friend who says that Roman as a face is ass, and I don't know about ass, but I do want to say that I think Roman's face turn has been a little disappointing, but I don't know if we need to blame Roman for that. I think it has more so to do with the booking. I feel like the Bloodline story has been going on way too long, and unfortunately, his return as a babyface as well as the entire run has kind of been injected into that storyline, and a lot of it is just kind of repetitive at this point. I think we got to get to Roman and The Rock. That is a feud that needs to happen ASAP, because right now I'm hoping that Roman does not face Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania. That would be kind of disappointing. The next hot take comes from Gabe, who says that Roman ain't top 10. Bro's career started in 2020, and I guess I understand the point they're trying to make, that Roman was kind of bad before 2020 and after turning heels when he really got things going, but I would say we can't throw away everything that happened with the Shield days as well as his big dog run. Even though the fans did not love him before 2020, he still had a lot of bangers, he still had a lot of good feuds, and he still had half the crowd cheering for him, even though they were just women and children. I think Roman is definitely in the top 10, especially after that storyline, and even if you take away everything before 2020, I think Roman is still in the top 10 just for that legendary run that we won't ever see again. Staying on the topic of the Bloodline, and Will says that Jey Uso reunited with Roman and Jimmy way too soon. I agree. I think they kind of pulled the trigger way too fast. This is something that could have taken months. For example, like Rey Mysterio finally hitting his son Dominic Mysterio. That moment really felt special because it took so long to get there. So yeah, I kind of agree with this, but I also understand that they want to have war games with Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Roman, and then most likely Sami Zayn teaming up together. So I understand the purpose behind it, but yeah, maybe they could have started things off a little bit earlier. Martin says that Tonga Loa should be the tribal chief, and honestly, he is at this point. This man deserves to win the WWE Championship next. I think you should book him versus The Rock at WrestleMania. Forget Roman, forget everything I said. Tonga Loa versus The Rock is what we need to see. Speaking of The Rock, Kevin says that the final boss Rock might end up aging better than the Hollywood Rock. And I love Hollywood Rock. I think it's one of the most special things and special runs we've seen from The Rock or any wrestler ever. It was great stuff. It was very entertaining, but the final boss Rock is something we've never seen ever in pro wrestling. Maybe the closest thing to it was Vince McMahon, but then again, Vince wasn't the wrestler that The Rock is. The Rock legitimately has power and does whatever he wants and drops F-bombs left and right. So I do think the final boss Rock, when it's all said and done, especially after this feud with Cody Rhodes and then Roman Reigns, will be one of the greatest runs we've seen from anyone in professional wrestling. Brandon says that Randy being the mastermind behind Kevin's heel turn would be a great storyline, and I gotta admit that is a fire idea. I hope it happens. Randy needs to turn heel, and a feud between Randy and Cody would be so cool. I wouldn't even mind if Randy screws Cody out of the WWE Championship and Kevin wins it, even if Cody wins it back a couple weeks or a month later. And now moving on to Kevin Owens, Storn says that Kevin Owens is a top 10 all-time wrestler in WWE. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that is not the case at all. I can think of maybe 50 to 75 other people that I would say are above Kevin Owens. Maybe he cracks the top 75 for all I know, but he's definitely not in the top 10. I love Kevin Owens. I think he's a great performer, but he's not a top 10. Ant-Man says that Cena Rock 3 needs to happen at some point in his farewell tour. I completely disagree. I think the face-off at WrestleMania was everything we needed. We do not need another Cena and Rock match, especially because nobody really wanted Cena versus Rock 2. The first one was great. The second one, nobody wanted. The third one, I mean, I think more people would enjoy it, but still at the end of the day, I think it would be wasting a match between The Rock and John Cena. Let them face new people. Ball Hands says that Zach Allen has more in-ring talent than John Cena, and that is just not the case at all. Zach had a pretty good run with the WWE, but he's nowhere near close as John Cena in that ring. A lot of people underrate John Cena and his wrestling ability, but 2015 John Cena proved us otherwise. Zayn says that Wade Barrett should be the last opponent of John Cena, and I don't know why you would come up with this. Like, I guess I understand the fact that they had a feud in 2010, but that feud was kind of ass. John Cena buried Wade Barrett, and so there's just no reason to do this at all. I want to see Wade versus Drew McIntyre. That's the feud I want to see. Relish says that Cody deserves to be Gunther to stay credible. To me, it does not really matter. I think both Cody and Gunther could win the match, and it doesn't matter because they're both world champions. They're both very credible wrestlers, so whoever wins, wins. I think Gunther's going to most likely win. Speaking of Gunther, Cam says that Gunther is a transitional champion, and that's, I didn't know. I don't think that's the case at all. Gunther is going to hold that championship until WrestleMania, and you know who he's going to fight? Either John Cena or Brock Lesnar, and I have no problem with that at all. The next hot take says that Uncle Howdy should win the Royal Rumble and then dethrone Gunther, and that's an interesting idea, but I hope that WWE does not book that at all, because I don't want to see it. To me, Uncle Howdy does not need a WWE championship. I think he's more of a wrestler who's just got to have feuds and whatnots, just good storylines. The Unknown One says that WWE should also do more face versus face and heel versus heel storylines, and I completely disagree. I know there's a lot of people that say that they should, but to me, every story, every movie, every book, you gotta have a good guy and you gotta have a bad guy. So I don't agree with this hot take at all. I think you've gotta have the traditional face versus heel, because I think that is just the art of storytelling. That's like one of the basic rules when it comes to telling a story. Sean says that WWE should not have a Mania outside of North America. This is another hot take that I'm going to have to disagree with, because I think that we need to see WrestleMania in the UK. That would be epic. They would lose their mind, and it would be one of the best crowds ever. So I have no problem with WWE booking WrestleMania over there. Zane says that if Mark Henry's Hall of Fame run had lasted a bit longer, he could have been considered the greatest big man in WWE history. And then we have Shawnee, who says that Mark Henry is in fact the best big man in WWE history. And who do I agree with? I say that I agree with Zane. I think Mark Henry's one of the best, but I don't think he is the best big man. I think Big Show still holds that title, but I do agree with the fact that if the Hall of Fame did last longer, he could have made an argument for being one of the best big men ever. Mark Henry was definitely ahead of his time, and the WWE did not treat him like the beast he should have been treated like back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Moving on from best big men, BVR says that Kane is the best monster in WWE history, and when you put Kane up against people like The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, especially, the Fiend character and all these other great characters, I still give it to Kane. I think Kane is indeed the best monster in wrestling history. With like the scary, spooky stuff, Kane wins that title, at least the masked Kane in my opinion. Barca fan says that WWE failed AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. They definitely did not fail AJ Styles at all. This man was carrying SmackDown for a couple of years in 2016 through 2018 and had very nice WWE Championship runs, so they did not fail AJ Styles. But as for Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura, I can't lie, they did indeed fail both of these guys, and I think both Finn and Shinsuke Nakamura have failed under Triple H as well as Vince, so it's kind of a shame. Hopefully their careers can turn around. I thought Shinsuke's was when he had that whole run in 2023, but they kind of did nothing with him. And as for Finn Balor, I don't know about this new Judgment Day. It's just not cutting it out for me. Speaking of Finn Balor, Matthew says that Finn Balor was so underrated that he should have won the Universal title in 2021, and actually said the same thing back in 2021. But I'm glad that WWE did not listen to any of us, because we wouldn't have gotten that legendary Roman Reigns title run. So Finn Balor should not have won the Universal title. And Rash says that it's time for the Prince Finn Balor to win the IC title, and I have no problem with that at all. I honestly prefer Finn Balor being the IC champion over Braun Breaker, just because I think that Finn Balor deserves it right now. He's in a big faction, and also Finn Balor, if he can't have the WWE or the World Championship, give him something, the mid-card championship. He also looks good with the white IC title belt. Leo says that TV is better than live shows, and as someone who's went to over 50 live shows, I gotta say that I agree. At this point, I do not like going. I prefer being at home and watching everything from my TV, so I gotta agree with Leo. But if you haven't gone, you should definitely go at least, 3 or 4 or 5 times or something like that. The next hot take says that Rollins needs that WrestleMania match with Punk more than Punk does, and I've gotta agree. I think that CM Punk could honestly wrestle anyone. He could wrestle Gunther, John Cena, he could wrestle Roman Reigns. There's so many possibilities for him at WrestleMania. He does not really need Rollins, but Rollins, especially if he wants a main event, needs CM Punk. And the last hot take from Rebecca says that Carlito desperately needs a push. I don't think there's a single soul outside of Rebecca wanting this, but hey, I respect the fact that you are a Carlito fan and this is your opinion. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video.